Hey, this is Kenny from Kenny's Audiophile Record Reviews. Thank you very much for viewing my channel. Please like and subscribe. I really appreciate that. In this video, I'm going to discuss the Rolling Stones Top 200 Greatest Singers of All Time list. This was a request from one of my viewers. He asked my opinion on the list, and I thought I'd do a video on this topic. But what I'm going to do is mention some areas on the list that I disagree with here and there. Then after that, I'm going to list a small amount of artists that I think, based on the artists that are on this list, could potentially make this list. And then after that, I'm going to mention or show the album covers of 15 artists who definitely should have made this list. Glaring omissions on this list, in my opinion. But this list, I assume, may have taken into account things other than vocal talent, maybe their overall impact and, things like that. What I'm going to do is just focus on vocal talent alone. That's what my comments are going to be based on, vocal talent alone, and that's it. But I'm going to briefly mention the top 10. Like I said, this is a 200 artist list, I should say. Number 1 is Aretha Franklin. Number 2, Whitney Houston. Number 3, Sam Cooke. Number 4, Billie Holiday. Number 5, Mariah Carey. Number 6, Ray Charles. Number 7, Stevie Wonder. Number 8, Beyonce. Number 9, Otis Redding. And number 10, Al Green. Now, off the bat, Whitney Houston ranked at number 2. She was an amazing vocalist. I saw her in person a couple of times during her career. Early in her career, when she was amazing, but unfortunately her life was cut too short, and I didn't think she had the longevity of an artist to be mentioned as low as number 2. So I would question that. Another thing I would question is Beyonce, ranked at number 8. She's an amazing artist, a great talent, but I don't think she's a top 10 talent in my opinion. Like I said, all these things are personal opinion based. We all going to disagree, but this is just my personal opinion. As you see, Rolling Stone magazine, that's their opinion. And I know yours can differ from mine. These are just personal opinion based. There's no right or wrong answers. But I would not have Beyonce in the top 10. John Lennon at number 12 and Paul McCartney at number 26. Now, as a group, the Beatles, in my opinion, greatest pop band of all time. They really were. And amazing. As songwriters, they were first rate, Lennon and McCartney. But John Lennon at number 12 and Paul McCartney rank where he's ranked. I can think of other vocalists who are better vocalists than John Lennon and Paul McCartney, in my opinion. For example, Smokey Robinson is at 23. John Lennon's at 12. I think Smokey Robinson is a better vocalist, in my opinion, than John Lennon. Like I said, just a personal opinion. Bob Dylan, an amazing talent. He's ranked at number 15. As a singer, as a songwriter, he's first rate, one of the best of all times in terms of an entertainer and a songwriter. As a vocalist, however, I think that's a different case. I'm not saying he's a bad vocalist, and I'm not saying he should not be on this list. But Marvin Gaye at number 20 and Bob Dylan at 15, I think Marvin Gaye's a better vocalist than Bob Dylan. Smokey Robinson, 23, I think is better than Bob Dylan. Mahalia Jackson at 28 is better than Bob Dylan. And I can go on and on and on. You have Van Morrison at 37. I love Van Morrison. Again, an amazing talent. He's at 37 on the list. But Etta James is at 41. I think Etta James is a greater singer than Van Morrison. You have Ella Fitzgerald at 45. Van Morrison at 37. I think Ella Fitzgerald is a greater singer, better vocalist than Van Morrison. Not to take anything away from Van Morrison, but I think Ella Fitzgerald is better. And I can go on and on with this list, and there's several other examples on this list that I disagree with. I mean, you have Kelly Clarkson on this list, and she is at where is she? She's at number 194. Now, the artists I'm going to mention at the end of this video, I think are all better vocalists than Kelly Clarkson. Kelly Clarkson made the list, but the artists I'm going to mention at the end of this video did not. So I have an order with the an issue with the order of the rankings on this list and who's on this list. You know, Iggy Pop's on this list. I'm not that knowledgeable about Iggy Pop to say whether he should be on this list or not. Matter of fact, there's a lot of, you know, newer singers that I'm not familiar with who are on this list that I simply can't comment on, to be quite honest with you. Taylor Swift is on the list. And I don't think Taylor Swift is a better vocalist than the ones I'm going to mention later in this video. So again, I have Chet Baker's at number 116. And he's ranked ahead of Donny Hathaway, who was at number 26. So the way they have this list, the ranking order I have an issue with, and I have the issue with the people on this list. I don't have a big issue with Chet Baker as a vocalist, but the ranking that they have him at, I have an issue with. But and like I said, there's many other examples on this list that I disagree with. But you know, it's just Rolling Stone's take on it. I'm about to give you mine. Some artists, I think, the artists that I'm going to mention now are artists that borderline could be on the list. And I'm going to get to the glaring omissions after that. For example, Art Garfunkel, who's a very good vocalist, I think potentially could have been in someone's top 200 list. He had a pure, amazing voice. A fabulous R&B soul singer, Percy Sledge, who sang the hit When a Man Loves a Woman, underrated R&B singer. Eddie Kendricks, who was formerly of the Temptations, what a fantastic pure voice he had. He could have been on someone's top 200 list. These two singers were in a fifth dimension. Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis Jr. Especially Billy Davis Jr. Fabulous voices. This is an underrated voice and kind of lost in the shuffle in modern times, unfortunately. Gloria Lynn, fantabulous voice. Eric Burton, during his prime with War, and also during his prime with Eric Burton and the Animals, during his prime, he could have made a top 200 list, in my opinion. Now, this singer is on the top 200 list, and I'm showing this album for a reason. João Gilberto, the Brazilian guitarist and singer, was an amazing talent out of Brazil. He collaborated with Stan Getz on the Getz Gilberto album that features Stan Getz, João Gilberto, Astra Gilberto, Antonio Carlos Jobim. He was an amazing singer, amazing talent. He made the top 200 list. He actually made it. But if you're going to put João Gilberto on the list, what about a great female Brazilian singer, one of the greatest talents to come out of Brazil, whose life was unfortunately cut short? That was Elis Regina. She easily could have made a top 200 list. What a marvelous singer she was. Now, the next 15 are glaring omissions, in my opinion, on that top 200 list. And I'm going to start with one of the greatest jazz singers of all time, if not the greatest. That is the great Eddie Jefferson. The great, great jazz singer. Oscar Brown Jr., fantabulous voice. John Hendricks, right here, of Lambert, Hendricks, and Ross, a great jazz singer, great scat singer as well. This singer, great pop singer, great soul singer, R&B. She collaborated with Burt Bacharach and Hal David. Dionne Warwick did not make Rolling Stone's top 200 list. That was a major oversight. Another major oversight, one of the greatest soul singers of all time, Sister Roberta Flack, did not make Rolling Stone's top 200 list. But Kelly Clarkson did. Brother Tony Bennett didn't make the list. He would have made mine. the great jazz soul singer, strong voice, Brother Joe Williams did not make the list. It's a crime this person didn't make the list. The greatest voices and singers of all time, Dinah Washington did not make the Rolling Stone top 200 list. Versatile singer, could sing pop, R&B, jazz. Nancy Wilson did not make their list. She would have made mine. Now the singer I'm going to show you next is interesting. Frank Sinatra, I think, overall, was one of the greatest talents of all times in terms of vocalist. He was a complete package. I have a ton of his albums. He, like I say, he was a complete package as a vocalist. But I think this vocalist I'm going to show you had a better, pure, and natural voice, and a better singing voice than Frank Sinatra, in my opinion, just a personal opinion. That's Andy Williams. What a beautiful, pure voice he had. I seen him in person years ago. What an amazing talent he was. He should have made the top 200 list with his voice. Another singer was famous for being in commercials, and she was an amazing artist in her own right. Phoebe Snow was not on the top 200 list. Now, you cannot have a top 200 list without this artist, in my opinion. Nat King Cole did not make Rolling Stone's top 200 greatest singers list. That's right, Nat the King Cole didn't make it. He would have made my list. A forgotten singer in modern times, Johnny Mathis. Beautiful voice, underrated. This is a versatile singer, could sing any style, jazz, pop, R&B. Brother Lou Rawls would have been on my top 200 list, but it was not on a Rolling Stones top 200 list. And the biggest omission of all, I think, one of the greatest singers of all time, definitely one of the greatest female singers of all time. She makes my list any day. Sister Sarah Vaughan. She should have been on the top 2. If you're going to have Kelly Clarkson on a list, and you have Taylor Swift on a list, how about Sarah Vaughan, please? Those are my choices of glaring omissions. If you have any, you can leave them in the comment section below. Like I said, I know these things are opinion-based. They vary from person to person. There's not a right or wrong answer. That's just my take on it. So what's yours? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch my video. Thank you for viewing. God bless. Strong love. Peace to all.